I think Malaysia is such a shining example. In 2018, we changed a government who's been there for so many years, more than 60 years, just through the ballot box. Although the ballot box was flawed, we did it, not a drop of blood spilled. So I think we are a shining example for this region. Having elections doesn't necessarily mean you have a democracy, because there are many ways in which you can rig elections, many ways in which you can make things happen. And ultimately, it depends on the leaders who are chosen. So you can see that in our region. It's quite frightening what's happening. The human rights abuses, I mean, the Philippines, in Myanmar, they're catastrophic, actually, what I would say, because there's no value given to human life. Although they may have a semblance of democracy in the way they run elections, it doesn't necessarily mean they have a true democracy. Bersih means clean. It was a movement started by politicians with civil society in 2007, when they had their first big rally for clean and fair elections.
There were so many frustrations that Bersih actually relied on those political environment, and we came up with very simple demands. In the first place, we didn't ask for overthrow of the government. We were very focused. We wanted electoral reform, which is very clear. Clean and fair elections. Who can actually object to clean and fair elections?
But in fact, there was a huge opposition by the government then. They tried everything in their power to bully, threaten, and then of course there's tear gas and so on. And what it did was, it united the people, actually. So you had people from all races, religions, gender, who got together because we were being attacked by the government. That's what people felt. Let me say, it's not just Bersih. Don't forget, in 2007, you had Hindra, the Lawyers' Walk, you had so many things. So people were already starting to move. And it grew. It grew and grew and evolved. It became a people's movement, not just for clean and fair elections, but for democratic reform. And the other great thing that Bersih did is Global Bersih. So we were getting support from Malaysians all over the world.
In 2015, we decided that we will do a 2-day camp out. It was actually in response to the expose of the grand corruption under the 1MDB. Secondly, is that we found out there were allegations against our Prime Minister that he was also involved. And I was really, really surprised that so many actually overnight with us on the streets for the 36 hours. And that was our largest gathering. And that led us to Bersih 5, because Bersih 5 was actually built on to the kind of support that we had, that we have actually gained over our whole 10-year struggle. We actually came to a point that, Bersih 5, we have to do something different, where we want to include more people into our movement. We went out to try to cover as many areas as possible that we have never gone and reached out to. And I think that actually worries the authority then. So they resorted to arrest. So initially they arrested me under SOSMA, but they also arrested key organizers of the rally. 14 of them were actually arrested, including Mandip Singh, who was the manager of Bersih, thinking that by arresting these leaders, the rally will actually be stopped or it will not happen. But leadership has now been decentralized to the people. And even if all of us were arrested, the people will be there at the rally, and true enough, it happened.
I think one of the biggest strengths of Bersih, peaceful movement. Bersih supporters was beaten up, attacked, and etc. But none of the Bersih supporters actually fight back. It was very peaceful.
Look at the people who turned out for the rally. There were no fear in all of them. They were just very angry. After I was arrested under SOSMA, people came out to continue it for another 14 days of candlelight vigils.
Never in our history that we had high voter turnout. Never. 5th of May, 84%. 9th of May, 82%. This is because of the consistency of Bersih been advocating, been championing, been promoting the importance of coming out to vote, and also participating in election monitoring. How Bersih mobilize Malaysians not only to vote, but also to safeguard the ballot box, observe, to watch the election process. People were staying overseas, came back to vote. It's because of all the advocacy and awareness that Bersih has been running.
So eventually, after 60 over years, we managed to change the government. That's one phase of our democratic movement. The other phase now is that we have to make sure that what we say gets implemented.
You can't expect miracles after 60 years of one way of doing things. You can't expect this government to perform miracles. But there are issues that we're still not happy about. They have actually taken strides in bringing reform, but there are some key reforms that we feel still haven't come through. You don't have to do everything that we are asking. We want, of course, but we have experience. Many of our civil society members have been there for a long time. So I think there are some people that they are shutting out and not listening to. I know their jobs are difficult, I'm not saying no, but they cannot forget civil society. As I said to someone, if they ever forget why they're there, they should go back and watch a Bersih video. They need to remember why they're there, how they're there. If they ever forget, they should be reminded. The Bersih story is inspiring. It was the first time anyone thought about making free and fair elections an issue. It started as a political and civil society movement, but eventually became a totally civil society movement. So everybody could be involved. Everybody felt they could be involved. And it was a movement, and people showed so much courage. And I think that is what is needed.